Hey guys, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about journaling and how it has helped me become a profitable trader. I wanted to talk about a couple things. I've noticed that in my trading career, many of the successful traders keep a journal, including ICT, where he talks about how till this day, after trading for many years, he keeps a journal. And I wanted to talk about two things: how to keep a journal, what type of journals I have used personally over the years, and what I found to be helpful. And I want to talk about how to effectively use these journals so that when you're in a live trade or in a trade that you have seen in the past, you can always refer to your journal for any type of directions. Okay, so guys, I want to talk about how I used to journal when I initially started ICT. And then toward the end of the video, I will show you what I do now and how my journaling has evolved over the years. So when I first started the career in trading, career in understanding the financial market, I started off with one journal. I would watch something, I would watch the news, I would watch a video from ICT, and I would use a header with the subject, whatever it is that I'm watching, and I would just write down everything that I needed to write down as part of my notes. And it was very useful. I used to be able to carry that journal anywhere. I used to write down anything that would come to me. I would write down anything that I would read that day from ICT or from the videos that I would watch. It was convenient for me to write down everything in one journal. Over the time, what I found out was the fact that it was not very organized. I would have all these notes written down in one journal, and I would flip through all the pages to find this one particular note that I was looking for. And over the time, it became very cluttered. It was not useful at all. So the purpose of journaling kind of faded away from this point. So as I gathered more information and I became involved deeply with the idea of trading, I thought it was a good idea to get more journals. So what I did was I went to Walmart, especially during the back to school time, and I bought a bunch of journals, right? I bought different colors, different line spacing, and I brought them back and I would organize it. Basically the idea that each journal I would take each journal and for each separate topics. So for example, ICT talks about the equity market, the foreign exchange market, the bond market. So I would have a journal for each. I would also have a journal for my trades, for my trade entries, what I'm looking for that day, and what was the outcome of those trades. So I would journal after each of these sessions, each of these trades, I would have a journal for them. So the pros of having this type of journaling was the fact that it was organized, each topic under each journal. And it was also the fact that I can retrieve the information quickly and easily. If I needed to retrieve information on a trade that I did a month ago, I can always go back to my trading journal and retrieve that information. So it was organized, it was clean, it was easy to retrieve. So the cons of this type of journaling. So over time, as I accumulated more journals, it became a cumbersome method. It became cumbersome in the fact that I would have to carry multiple journals plus my laptop, and I may or may not use these journals to retrieve information or to write down information. Also, as I accumulated more journals, the ability to access old data became harder because some of these data entries might be from journals that I might not even have with me. So overall, the organization skills that the journals are meant to provide diminished. So ultimately, I came to this conclusion that this method of journaling is not only a mental burden, and it negates the purpose of journaling, it is also a physical burden. And lastly, this type of journaling is not very user-friendly. So I realized this type of journaling, I had journals all over the place. I may or may not use these journals in the future. And I just have a collection of these journals. So environmentally, this is not the best method. So naturally, I started looking into alternative way of journaling via electronic journals. The first thing that came to my mind was a Rocketbook. So my initial impression of the Rocketbook was it was great. It eliminated a lot of the problems that I've talked about. It was also user-friendly and environmentally friendly. And ability to have digital copies eliminated the cumbersome method of carrying paper journals around. And organization modestly improved, but I think the biggest improvement with the Rocketbook was the fact that accessibility improved. So having the digital copies in your cloud services meant that you could have more notes available to you and carry less, and you can have these copies available to you anywhere. So I found the Rocketbook Pro overall good, but I didn't enjoy it as much. So some of the cons of having a Rocketbook Pro to take notes was the fact that it came with limited amount of worksheets. So you constantly had to erase these worksheets to make room for new notes. So as a result, when you're constantly erasing them, it leaves behind marks. And when you're taking new notes, and you're a type A person like me, these marks will be bothersome. And Rocketbook Pro also requires you to have a special marker. So when you're constantly losing these markers, your note-taking ability is kind of hindered by this. So overall, the accessibility, because you have to go through all these types of different challenges that comes with taking notes with Rocketbook, the accessibility kind of decreases. So you're somewhat deterred from using this method. Because of this limitation that comes with Rocketbook, I looked for other means of taking effective notes, which included the electronic paper tablets. The two that I looked at was the Remarkable and the Android version of the box. While I didn't personally use Remarkable, I did extensive research on it, and I ultimately bought the box instead. And I found those two electronic paper tablets to be very similar. So the pros of these electronic paper tablets was the fact that it replaced old school physical paper. It also replaced the limited worksheet that Rocketbook comes with. So you have unlimited digital form of paper available in these type of tablets, which made it not only more organized and cleaner, it also eliminated a lot of these problems that I've talked about in the past. And in these electronic tablets, it comes with a stylus, so it replaces the need for having a pen or a specialized marker. While they were a great upgrade from the Rocketbook, I didn't really stick with this type of note-taking or this type of journaling. And the reason for this is the fact that the compatibility was a big issue for me across various devices. So the accessibility to access your notes from these type of devices was somewhat lacking. Another issue that I had with this type of paper tablet was the fact that the technology was somewhat medieval. There was always an issue with lagging. Sensitivity or your senses to touch and while you're taking notes are very finicky. And overall, the user friendliness was just not there. Which brings us to our next issue with this type of paper tablet, which is the price. So you're paying anywhere from $350 to upwards of $750 for these type of devices without any other type of benefits other than the fact that you're just using these devices to take notes or to read PDF files and things of that nature. So after going through all this, you guys might be asking, what is the purpose of all this? I have gone through different types of note-taking strategies, and I don't use any of them. And more importantly, what is the purpose of this video? So I just want to share with you guys is that the purpose of this video is to share with you what I do and how I take notes using Microsoft Surface Pro, specifically their program built in Microsoft OneNote. And I came to the conclusion as I'm going through this trading journey is the fact that you can take effective notes. You could be a great note taker, but if you're not able to access these notes whenever you need it, for either for studying purposes or to make decisions, these notes are not very effective. So as I mentioned earlier, that my personal favorite way of taking notes, something that I use today, is using Microsoft Surface Pro, using their built-in program called the Microsoft OneNote. The reason I use that is because it checks all the boxes. It's accessible, meaning that you can not only take notes, but you can access your notes on desktop, your tablets, and on your smartphones. It is user-friendly it's user-friendly because it comes with a stylus, and with the one click on your stylus, it opens up the Microsoft OneNote where you can start taking notes right away. It is user-friendly because once you are able to take notes and make a document, put all your data in it, you can save it however you want to. So it becomes accessible over multiple devices. Again, you can save it as a Word document, you can save it as a PDF document, and you can also save it as a JPEG or a picture document. It supports all the formats. The biggest thing with this Microsoft OneNote is the fact that you don't have to worry about your organizations based on your different types of market. So what do I mean by that? When you have a keyword in your document, when you have a keyword in your notes, in your journal, you can search for that keyword within that program, and the program will automatically retrieve that document with that keyword. So you use less of your mental capacity. It is lightweight, it's easily portable, and you get the most bang for your buck. Whereas the paper tablets, you spend $300 to upward of $700 to purchase these products. Microsoft Surface Pro, although they're expensive, you get a lot more usage out of them, or different types of usage out of them. Not only for note-taking purposes, which is great, which is why I mostly use it for, but you can also use it as a regular standard laptop and or a tablet. So whatever I shared with you today on this video has been my personal journey, and it took me many years to come to the conclusion or a method that works for me when it comes to journaling. And there's two components that I want you to take away from this video. Number one, you need to find a method that works for you so that you can easily do the journaling portion where you actually can write down notes, number one. And number two is the ability to access those notes. So for example, I use OneNote, as I stated before, and I access these notes on a daily, hourly, minutely basis if I need to. So if I'm standing in line, I can always access these notes. If I'm waiting for something, and I can access these notes and kind of refresh my memory. And the second way is I can access these notes or the journal entries on my desktop on a weekly basis. When I sit down in front of a computer on a Sunday night, I can access what happened previous week or monthly basis, what has happened, the notes and information that I've taken down, collected over the last week or so. I always go through these notes on a weekly basis and on a minutely basis if I needed to. And lastly, I just want to say that I have no affiliation with any of these companies that I've talked about. So with that, guys, hopefully you take away something valuable, something useful from this video, something that will aid you in becoming a better and a successful trader. And thank you for watching. Until next time.